Her own nephew didn't just drain her accounts, he systematically poisoned her prize-winning orchids, one by one, just to break her spirit. It's horrifying, isn't it? Imagine dedicating your life to something beautiful, something fragile, something that represents your legacy, and someone you trusted, someone you loved, tries to kill it. Slowly, deliberately, maliciously, right under your roof. I'm Victoria, and on this channel, we talk about stories that get under your skin, stories of betrayal, yes, but also stories of incredible resilience, stories of justice, served cold, sometimes ruthlessly. Today's story comes from a woman I'll call Elena. Elena is, well, she's remarkable, in her late 70s now, sharp as a tack, with a quiet dignity that hides, let me tell you, absolute steel underneath. She shared this with me, needing it to be heard, a warning, maybe. A testament, definitely, to what can happen when kindness is mistaken for weakness, and what happens when the weak find their fury. You need to hear how she fought back. Subscribe right now. Don't miss this, because Elena's story, it's a masterclass in turning the tables. It starts, as these things often do, with misplaced trust and a wolf in sheep's clothing. Now, I'm going to let Elena tell you, in her own words. Listen close. My life, it had settled, into a comfortable rhythm. My husband, Arthur, gone for nearly a decade. The house felt large sometimes, but my work, my passion, it filled the spaces. Orchids. Not just any orchids, rare, demanding, exquisite blooms, generations of careful breeding, decades of patience. They weren't just plants to me, they were living art, my legacy, perhaps, my connection to beauty, to life continuing. I'd won awards, written papers, consulted for botanical gardens. My name, Elena Vance, meant something in that world, a quiet pride, you understand. Then came Marcus, my sister's boy, my nephew. He arrived on my doorstep, looking lost, mid-30s. Charm turned slightly sour around the edges, said he'd hit a rough patch, lost his job, his apartment, needed a place to land, just for a little while, to get back on his feet. Family helps family, don't they? That's what I believed. That's what my Arthur would have done, so I opened my door. He was helpful. At first mowed the lawn, fixed a leaky faucet, ran errands, listened patiently to my stories about the orchids. Or so I thought. He'd bring me tea, ask about my day, seemed genuinely concerned when I felt tired. Aunt Ellie, he'd say, you do so much, let me handle the bills this month, you just rest. I was 76 then, still sharp, but perhaps a little too trusting, a little lonely. Maybe it felt nice, having someone around, someone young, seemingly caring. He started helping with my online banking, paying bills, said it was too complicated for me, all the passwords, the websites, he set it all up. To make it easier, he said. He showed me quickly, clicking through screens. My eyes aren't what they used to be. I relied on him, stupid. I know that now, criminally stupid, but he was family. He'd wander into the greenhouse, admire the orchids. He knew how much they meant to me. He knew the Queen's tears, my rarest hybrid, was my masterpiece. Years of work, irreplaceable. He'd ask questions about their care, their vulnerabilities, innocent questions. I thought interest, I thought the financial drain started slowly, small amounts, here and there, things I might overlook, attribute to rising costs or my own failing memory, which he gently, subtly started to suggest. Are you sure you didn't buy that, Aunt Ellie? Maybe you forgot. This bill seems high, did you pay the last one? Little seeds of doubt, planted carefully, watered with feigned concern. Then it began with the orchids. One of the Phalaenopsis, a sturdy variety, started to yellow. Odd, I thought. I hadn't changed its routine. I checked the roots, the medium, the light. Nothing obvious, maybe just stress, I told myself. Then another, a Cattleya this time. Its leaves developed strange spots, ugly, brown, spreading. It wasn't fungal, wasn't bacterial, not like anything I'd seen. My meticulously kept records, my decades of experience, offered no answer. Panic started to flutter, a cold bird in my chest. Marcus was ever so concerned. Oh, Aunt Ellie, that's terrible. Are you feeling all right? Maybe you missed a watering, or overwatered. More doubt, chipping away at my confidence, my expertise, my identity, really. He'd offer to help. Let me check their water today, Aunt Ellie, you look peaky. His hands moving among my precious plants, my stomach churns just thinking about it now. The decline accelerated, my Queen's tears. The crown jewel started drooping. Its vibrant green leaves turned a sickly greyish-yellow, buds withered before opening. It was like watching a loved one waste away, inexplicably. I spent hours in the greenhouse testing soil pH, checking humidity, light levels, talking to my plants, pleading with them. Nothing worked, they were dying one by one, and I didn't know why. The stress was immense. I wasn't sleeping, barely eating. My beautiful, controlled world was crumbling. And Marcus was always there, with a comforting arm, a cup of tea, and subtle suggestions that maybe I wasn't coping, maybe I needed more help, maybe it was time to consider letting someone else manage things. His things, of course. The financial irregularities became bolder, larger sums vanishing, checks I didn't remember writing with signatures that looked almost like mine, online transfers I couldn't explain. When I questioned him, gently at first, he'd feign confusion, then hurt. "Aunt Ellie, how can you think that? I'm just trying to help you." He'd produce bank statements, manipulated ones I later realized, showing nothing amiss or explaining away large withdrawals as house repairs, investments he was managing for me. Gaslighting, it's called, isn't it? Making you doubt your own sanity, your own reality. He was good at it. Very good. He isolated me too, subtly. Made excuses when old friends called, suggested I wasn't up for visitors, hinted to others, my neighbors, my doctor, that I was becoming forgetful, confused, frail, laying the groundwork. I see it now for what I didn't dare imagine then. The devastation wasn't just financial, it was emotional, psychological. He wasn't just stealing my money. He was stealing my confidence, my peace of mind, my legacy, represented by those dying orchids. He was trying to erase me. While I was still breathing, the grief over my orchids was profound. It felt like a personal failure, a betrayal of my life's work. I mourned them deeply. And in that grief, a tiny spark of my old self flickered, the scientist, the observer. Something wasn't right. This wasn't natural decay, wasn't disease. It felt targeted, malicious. But who? Why, Marcus? No, surely not my own nephew. It seemed too monstrous, too cruel. But the doubt, once planted, began to grow. Nourished by tiny inconsistencies I started noticing. His sudden knowledge of obscure plant chemicals, mentioned casually, his insistence on handling the greenhouse ventilation, his slight smirk quickly hidden. When I found another wilting leaf, then came the day. The turning point. I was examining the roots of the Queen's tears. What was left of it, using my strongest magnifying lens, my hands trembling, and I saw it, not a fungus, not a pest, a faint, crystalline residue. Clinging to the root hairs, something I recognized vaguely from research papers years ago, a specialized, systemic herbicide, not something you buy at the garden center, something restricted, controlled, potent, designed to kill slowly, mimicking natural decline, used sometimes maliciously in competitive horticulture. Sabotage. My blood ran cold. This wasn't neglect, wasn't disease. This was poison, deliberate, calculated poison administered carefully, over time, by someone who knew enough to know how to hurt me most, someone with access, someone who pretended to care. Marcus. The realization hit me like a physical blow. The kindness, the concern, all of it. A lie, a monstrous facade, hiding a parasite, a viper I had welcomed into my home, my life. He wasn't just stealing from me. He was torturing me, killing my beautiful orchids. Symbols of my life's work, my joy, just to break me, just to make me doubt myself, make me seem incompetent. So he could take everything. The grief turned instantly into rage, not hot, flashing anger. No, something colder, deeper, harder, a diamond-sharp fury, crystallizing in my chest. He thought I was a frail old woman, easily confused, easily broken. He underestimated me. He underestimated my love for those plants. And he underestimated my capacity for focused, righteous wrath in that moment, kneeling on the cold greenhouse floor, residue on my fingertips. The victim died. And the strategist was born. He wanted my world to crumble. Fine, I would rebuild mine on the ashes of his. This wasn't just about getting my money back. Oh no, this was about justice, sharp, precise, unforgettable justice. He attacked my legacy. I would dismantle his future. He used poison. I would use knowledge, patience, precision, my tools, my mind, suddenly clear, sharp, energized by the cold fire of my anger. Began to work. My first instinct, call the police. Expose him immediately. But no, that felt insufficient. He deserved more than just legal consequences. He deserved exposure, humiliation, ruin. He needed to feel a fraction of the violation, the helplessness I had felt. He needed to be undone systematically, meticulously. Just like he tried to undo me and my orchids, the game was on, but now I knew the rules and I had the home field advantage, my mind, my knowledge, my house, my reputation. These were my weapons. And I would wield them without mercy. First, proof, undeniable proof. I started documenting everything, secretly photographing the financial statements, highlighting the suspicious transactions, matching dates of large withdrawals to Marcus's sudden acquisition of expensive gadgets, new clothes, unexplained weekend trips. He was careless, arrogant, thought I was too far gone to notice. He left a digital trail a mile wide, then the herbicide that was trickier. But I remembered him mentioning ordering special fertilizer online for his supposed container garden on the patio, a pathetic collection of weeds he barely tended. Late at night, when he was asleep or out, likely gambling, another suspicion forming, I accessed the shared computer carefully, covering my tracks, his browsing history, his email confirmations. There it was, orders from a specialized chemical supplier overseas, for that specific, restricted herbicide, delivered right to my door. Signed for likely by him, while I was supposedly resting. I printed everything, secreted the copies away, my evidence pile grew, cold, hard, damning. But I needed more than just proof of the crime, I needed leverage, I needed to understand his weaknesses, his pressure points. I started observing him, not as Aunt Ellie, the trusting fool, but as Elena Vance, the scientist, the strategist. I noticed his mail, sometimes left carelessly on the hall table, debt collection notices, increasingly frantic credit card statements, maxed out, hints of gambling websites visited, hushed phone calls where he pleaded for more time. His charm was a mask for desperation, his cruelty perhaps fueled by panic and resentment. Good desperation makes people reckless. And I noticed something else, something physical during pollen season. He suffered badly, sneezing fits, watery eyes, difficulty breathing. He'd complain bitterly about the local ragweed, blaming my garden. But I knew my garden, I knew the pollen counts, it wasn't just ragweed. He seemed particularly sensitive. Around certain exotic blooms I occasionally brought in for study a specific genus, known for its potent allergenic pollen, an idea sparked dark, dangerous. But oh so fitting, he used chemistry to attack my beloved plants. I would use biology against him, legally, of course. I possessed several specimens of *Ambrosia maritima *, a rare, potent relative of ragweed, kept for research purposes, perfectly legal to own and cultivate, its pollen notoriously allergenic, especially to those already sensitized like Marcus. The plan began to form, intricate, layered, timed perfectly. Phase 1, gather irrefutable evidence. Done. Phase 2, understand the enemy. Done. Phase 3, prepare the battlefield. I needed a stage, a moment of maximum impact. Marcus himself provided it. He started escalating his campaign, suggesting I needed full-time care, hinting about power of attorney, maybe even a facility. He arranged a family meeting, ostensibly to discuss my well-being, invited my other nephew, David, a decent but somewhat passive man, and his wife, perfect, an audience. Phase 4, the execution. The meeting was set for a Sunday afternoon in my living room. The day before, I carefully, strategically, placed several blooming *Ambrosia maritima * plants, hidden amongst other foliage near the armchair where Marcus always sat, harmless to most, potentially debilitating for him, nature's own targeted weapon. I also prepared a folder containing copies of the financial fraud evidence, the herbicide orders, the gambling debts, clear, concise, devastating, and I made a few quiet phone calls to my lawyer, informing him of the situation and my plan, to a trusted friend in the Horticultural Society, sharing concerns about Marcus's erratic behavior and potential misuse of chemicals, planting seeds of doubt about his character within the community he hoped to infiltrate using my name, and anonymously, to one of Marcus's largest creditors, hinting that he might be coming into, or rather, losing, a significant sum very soon. Applying pressure from another angle. Sunday arrived. I was calm, strangely calm, the cold fury banked, but ready. Marcus arrived first. Oozing false concern, He settled into his usual armchair. Near the hidden asterisk ambrosia, David and his wife arrived. Looking worried, clearly fed Marcus's narrative about my decline. Marcus began the meeting, his voice smooth, solicitous. "We're all here because we love you, Aunt Ellie, we're just concerned." He started talking about my memory lapses, my difficulty managing, the near misses in the greenhouse, painting a picture of a frail, incompetent old woman as he spoke. I watched him subtly, his breathing quickened, he started to sniffle, rubbed his eyes, the pollen was beginning its work. I let him talk, digging his own grave, then, when he paused, gathering himself for the pitch about needing formal help, power of attorney, I spoke, my voice clear, steady, devoid of tremor. "Marcus, before you continue," I placed the folder on the coffee table. "I think you should all see this." David picked it up, started reading, his eyes widening. His wife looked over his shoulder, gasped. Marcus watched them. A flicker of panic in his eyes, now red-rimmed and watery, he started to protest. "Aunt Ellie, what is this nonsense?" But his voice was becoming thick, congested. He started coughing, short, wheezing coughs. "This, Marcus," I said, my voice cutting through his struggles, "is proof of your systematic theft, draining my accounts, forgery." I pointed to the herbicide orders, proof of how you poisoned my orchids, my life's work. Trying to destroy my mind along with my plants. David looked up, horrified. "Marcus, is this true?" Marcus tried to respond, but he was fighting for breath now, his face flushed, eyes streaming. "It's lies," he gasped. "She's confused." "Am I confused about the thousands missing?" I countered, ice in my voice. "Am I confused about the restricted chemicals delivered to my house? Am I confused about your gambling debts, Marcus?" His desperate denials were drowned out by a violent fit of sneezing, then desperate wheezing. He clawed at his collar. Genuinely struggling to breathe, David and his wife looked from the evidence to their gasping cousin to me, standing calm. Composed, the picture was clear, horribly clear. I think," I said softly, dangerously, "you need some fresh air, Marcus." David, finally understanding the depth of the betrayal, the manipulation, looked utterly disgusted. He didn't move to help Marcus. His wife looked physically ill. Marcus stumbled towards the door, wheezing, choking, tripping over the rug in his haste. He collapsed onto the porch, gasping like a landed fish. The ambrosia had done its work beautifully, a natural consequence of being in the wrong place with the wrong intentions. While he was incapacitated, recovering slowly outside, David called the police and an ambulance, just to be safe for Marcus. I presented the evidence calmly, clearly to the arriving officers. The financial documents, the chemical orders, everything. Marcus, still struggling to speak clearly through his allergic reaction, could offer no coherent defense, only sputtering denials that sounded utterly unbelievable against the weight of the proof, and his own dramatic physical distress. He was arrested right there on my porch for forgery, potentially more pending investigation into the chemical misuse. The fallout was swift and brutal, just as I'd intended. His creditors, alerted, descended immediately, ensuring financial ruin. The Horticultural Society, already wary thanks to my friend's discreet words, permanently barred him. His attempt to use my name, my legacy, was finished. His associates, his few remaining friends, vanished, repulsed by the story, which spread like wildfire, the public humiliation, the arrest, the documented deceit, the bizarre allergic reaction during his intervention. It painted a picture of a desperate, cruel, and ultimately pathetic man. He took a plea deal, served some time, but his life as he knew it was over, stripped bare, just like he tried to strip me. There was no pity in my heart, none. He had chosen his path, the path of the parasite, and I had simply chosen to remove him decisively. My orchids, some were lost forever, irreplaceable. That pain remains a scar, but I started again, cultivating new hybrids, stronger, more resilient, perhaps like me. I recovered a portion of the money, not all, but enough. More importantly, I recovered myself, my strength, my clarity, my fire. Things I thought had dimmed with age were merely dormant, waiting for the spark. He provided that spark with his cruelty, his arrogance. He thought he was destroying an old woman instead. He forged a weapon. My name is Elena Vance. I am a survivor, and I protect my garden fiercely. Victoria again, wow, just wow. Elena's calm delivery, Recounting those events, the precision of her plan, the cold fire, it's chilling, isn't it? That detail about the orchids, the poison, the specific herbicide, it shows such targeted cruelty, and her response, using her own unique knowledge, her passion, her plants against him, exploiting his specific weakness, his allergy, at the exact moment of exposure. It's breathtakingly strategic and undeniably harsh. Was it justice, pure and simple, or was it vengeance, meticulously crafted? Does it matter when the betrayal cuts that deep? When someone tries to systematically dismantle your life, your identity, your legacy, piece by piece? Elena found her power in her fury. She turned the tables, not just defending herself, but utterly destroying the threat, using the very tools he underestimated, her mind, her knowledge, her patience. It's a stark reminder: never mistake quiet dignity for weakness. Never underestimate the fury of someone pushed too far, especially someone with specialized knowledge. What do you think? Could you have done what Elena did? Was her response justified, too harsh, or exactly right? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I really want to hear them. This story, it sticks with you, doesn't it? If you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who might be facing their own battle against betrayal, share this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe, hit that notification bell. We share stories like Elena's every week, stories of survival, resilience, and sometimes staggering revenge. You won't want to miss what's next. Thank you for listening, really listening. I'm Victoria, and I'll see you in the next story.